34 years in education, training, marketing, and management, spanning across companies, countries. He has led three companies in marketing and management. He has worked as a lecturer in three different universities across India and Bahrain. He was also elected as honorary board member in the Indian School, Bahrain. He served on the board of both Hyderabad and the Secunderabad unit of Youth for Christ organization. Presently, he is serving as a board member in the National Evangelical Church in Bahrain. He holds an MBA from Osmania University, PG Diploma in Industrial Relation and Personal Management, Fellow of Higher Education Academy, UK, radio jockey, quiz show host, talk show host, play director, actor, blogger, Toastmaster, a humor champion for that, and a news columnist. This person has done so many things in his life. I am so happy that he agreed to be here in this episode, episode 3 of Momentum with Meenakshi. Let me welcome our guest, Mr. Joel Indrupati.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Meenakshi, for this great opportunity to be on your podcast, Momentum with Meenakshi. And I think the name itself is very interesting. And I'm so glad that you have asked me to be here today. And I think with our friendship for over about 20 years now, I'm glad that we got to know one another. And this will be a great way of understanding one another more. And thank you for the opportunity. And thank you for having me on your show.
It's a pleasure, sir. I always admired you for so many things that you are doing, actually. In fact, I want to start with first question from the different roles that you're doing. How do you find time to do so many things?
That's a good question because time is the same for all of us and managing time is very critical. But I must first, of course, acknowledge my wife and children for bearing with me. Obviously, when you do some things, you need to kind of not do certain other things. So in my case, I have been thankfully supported by my wife and my children who are understanding when I spend time away. But I'm glad without that I was able to still be able to do that. Of course, it becomes hectic, but somehow, I don't know, there's some magic working on well. But of course, I give it all, of course, to my support of my family.
In fact, I missed out that role of yours. Amazing husband and a wonderful father. Now, if I had to ask you to pick up one experience from your childhood, which in some way has helped you or shaped you in what you have become in your life, what would be that experience or a story?
Well, I would perhaps look at an opportunity that I had as a high school student to participate in a debate. I think that I would say is a defining moment in shaping what I wanted to be. We had an interesting teacher, a man called Arthur Peterson, and he was one of those who motivated us students to look at the world from much bigger way than what we just were looking. I remember how he used to bring to the class magazines like Time and Life, and in the 80s, that's a big thing because we don't have many opportunities to see the world through television because it was still coming and it was not big. And the magazines were one of those things through which we got to know. So Life magazine and the Time magazine, he used to show us pictures. And for some reason, I'll never forget Mount St. Helens in Washington state when it had a volcano, and that actually disrupted United States economy for a good deal of time. And he bought us those pictures, showed us how it was. And I still remember how he showed us who Bjorn Borg was and what Wimbledon was, So I remember, I'll definitely put him, Arthur Peterson, and his motivation for me and a group of our students to participate in a debate. So it was a high school debate and I was speaking for evolution. It was evolution versus creation. And I will never forget that because that was a defining point because it made me read, it made me prepare, and it made me talk in that time. And basically, since it was a formative time, youth or just high school time, I think that made me curious to learn more about the world, keep reading a lot, and try to improve my way of speaking.
In fact, I would say probably that helped you to also keep an open mind and be
Yeah.
curious always.
Yeah.
And also, maybe that is what triggered you to take up teaching.
I don't know whether that was the starting point, but definitely talking makes me happy, and teaching is the best way you can actually get what you like to do and also earn some money with that. Yeah.
So I can say that one teacher opened your eyes and
Yeah.
you took forward and helped many people to look things differently.
I hope so. Hope so.
And now that you have done different roles, I mean, you have been taking up different roles in your life. If there is one common thread that you can identify across all these roles, what would that be?
Two things I would say, not just one, but maybe I can make it in a one sentence, that it is uh, clarity of communication and confidence in saying what you want to say. These two together can actually, I can say as a common thread in all that I've done. Because I realized in all these jobs or the roles that I had played, what you would realize is that clarity in communication is needed in all these roles. And oftentimes it's also confidence. And confidence in saying what you want to say, because you're expected to do that role and you need to say what you want to say confidently. So this is what I think is the crux of all that I have done. Clarity of communication and the confidence. Now, clarity would come because, of course, constant practice of what you're doing. And confidence, of course, comes from sometimes what you know, and sometimes what you keep knowing and are sure that you would say, because if you do not have that, I think it will be difficult to be clear and it's difficult to be confident.
So both goes hand in hand, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, clarity, of course. Yeah, that's a very valid point, because without clarity, you can't do much in life. And even if you have clarity and don't have confidence, then you can't reach people.
True.
So I really appreciate your points. I'm taking it for my life, actually. Now, quiz master or a professor, which one you think is more entertaining, more challenging, and or more rewarding? If you have to answer.
Well, frankly, I love quizzing because from my childhood and especially during my college days, I discovered that interesting things are happening all over the world, and you participate in quiz. And I must say that quizzes were not as popular as they are today, and in many other ways. At that time there was no television quiz. I think quiz time just started after a little after I participated in college quizzes. So I enjoyed quizzing. It's very entertaining, no doubt about that. But if you ask me to choose between quizzing or quiz hosting and being a professor or a teacher in the university or a lecturer in the university, I would consider teaching as more challenging and more rewarding in both ways. The reason why I say that is because you're constantly encouraging people to learn. And I think that's important. I know I had interesting opportunities of my own colleagues, a couple of Bahraini colleagues saying, we want to come and sit in your class because I think you do something different. And that's a great honor. I said, okay, please come and sit. And I used to enjoy asking students questions and they answer questions. And I believe that's important. And that's challenging and rewarding because when students are learning by actually asking questions or answering questions. Because I believe education, there's a famous old statement which is no longer used much. People don't know that. But education is not putting in, but education is drawing out. So if you can make students curious by the questions you ask students, and in the process of the students answering questions, they get to learn and they get to find out more. And I think your job is done. So I believe that's more challenging and rewarding.
Good. Actually, that's a very interesting answer. In fact, I want to take forward from your particular answer, and because you said the professors want to come and sit in your class because you're doing something different. And I know you are a humor champion. So how much you think humor actually played a role in keeping all these roles interesting for the audience?
I must say that, I really don't consider myself as a champion in humor, but definitely two times when I actually went out from Bahrain to represent Bahrain at the GCC level, was an interesting thing, of course, and I love humor. I think life is meant to live. And the two humorous speeches that actually made me popular, one is, of course, what's called as the Fearless Husband, where I try to tell about how basically, it talks about me as a husband and what kind of things that I don't do right. And ended it by saying that fearless husband is actually a myth, an oxymoron. It doesn't exist, something like that. And the other one, of course, is about my bald head. I was talking, my speech title was Bald and the Beautiful. What I actually wanted to say is that humor is definitely good, because when you especially laugh at yourself, and when you try to say that you're just a human being, you have some fun point, the life moves on. So I definitely believe humor is a very important part of life. And if you can integrate it into your life, life becomes much more easier. You don't look at everything in a very critical manner or in a very cynical manner, but you're looking at life as, well, it goes on. We have some good points in life, some low points in life, some high points in life, and it all makes it worthwhile.
In fact, I just want to add from that particular point, because I know you for quite some time, and is it maybe because of your the humor that you celebrate within yourself? I've seen you always very open to learn from anyone. There is nothing like someone is new and someone is veteran. You're open for learning from any person. So is that because of the humorous nature adds to that?
Yeah, I think it does, because see, sometimes we don't need to have airs of where you are, what you are. Everybody is, what shall I say, an example for learning. I'm sure I enjoy just being with people. In fact, some people say, how can you really communicate with young people, children, and also the people who are much older than you, who are veterans or great people? I think it's all good. Just we need to have that kind of what shall I say, a kind of a behavior where we can be with anybody. There's a beautiful line, I think, in Rudyard Kipling's poem called If, which is a very famous poem, in which it says, if you can walk with kings and not lose your common touch, then you are a man, my son. So if you can walk with kings and yet not lose the common touch, then you are a man, my son. So I think it's a beautiful way of saying that we need to develop a personality where all people can find you approachable, and all people can enjoy talking to you, and you also enjoy talking to all kinds of people.
That's really a wonderful quality to acquire. It's hard actually, but yes. But how do you prepare yourself for it? What one can do to attain such quality?
Well, I think it's a good question. Some of these things can be prepared, and not some of these. In fact, I think in order to have a very fulfilling life, I think it needs a lot of preparation. And when I say preparation, in different ways, from our childhood, and in particular, especially during your formative years in the youth and during your university days, I think what you learn at that time and what you focus on at that time make you what you want to be or what you become. Of course, there are very many good cases of people becoming successful much later in their lives, but a majority of our life's learning comes from, I think, high school and university days, or that during that time. And what we focus on and what we learn at that time can help you a lot. I had a very good friend, Vidya Sagar, who introduced me to this book called The Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis.
Yeah, that's a very famous book those days.
Yeah, in those days, it was very big. And I must say that that book actually changed me in the way in which I looked at words, and in the way in which I have learned about how communication is critical. So what happened was, because I learned it at that time, I'll not forget it. I realized that today I am of that age where I read something yesterday and I forget today. But what I learned at that time, I will never forget. And so, therefore, I believe I owe a lot to that time. So learning matters. And similarly, I think what you see in those days, I really encourage people to try and travel, move out, I was able to join a marketing firm. So I was able to go and travel opens up your eyes. You see different people, different customs, different traditions. And so I think learning from books, learning from your interaction with people, and learning from travel helps you prepare and make you what you want to be.
Good tips. So one, of course, interest in learning, travel, and formative years, especially with the good friends. That really is one of the key points for.
Oh yes, I didn't mention that, but I must say that good friend. And if you remember, I said this friend gave me this,
Book,
this friend
yeah,
gave me
so,
that.
yeah.
So if you have good friends, they know what you want, or they are actually encouraging, and it's very very important. And that line which says that tell me your friends, and I'll tell you who you are, is a true statement. And if you can make good friends, and you be a good friend too, because it's not just you need to be able to find a good friend. You also have to be a good friend by giving the others what would really make them tick
But
or move.
I mean, we all grow together, kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah. That brings me to the next question. Like, generally, what happens with momentum? It's like finding a rhythm. So when you are doing so many things, how easy is it for you to find rhythm or find momentum in all of it? Because if you are doing one thing, then it's easy to find momentum. But you are doing so many things and still are able to get momentum in all of it. How is that possible?
Well, frankly, let me tell you, Meenakshi, I don't think that doing many things is a great thing. I must have done many things, but there are some people who have focused on only one or two things and have been very, very good. Jack of all trades, master of none is a good line. So I might have done many things, but I'm sure there are other people who focused on one or two things and have been very, very successful in their realm or in their area of expertise. So I believe that it all depends on personalities. Like my personality may be not the same as
Someone else,
another's personality. My wife actually complains that the problem with you is you have too many interests and too many likes. And that's not a good thing all the time, because she says, because you have so many things, you will need to be in many places. Whereas there may be other people who are focused on only one or two things and are there. So I do not think my involvement in many of these things is a great thing. It could be also kind of detrimental in probably making me very successful in one area. So it is individual personalities. But because of my interests in many areas, I must be enjoying what I'm doing. There may be some people who are focused on their areas.
Few
And
areas,
which,
yeah.
So I believe that is right. This is right, depending on your personality. And you have to keep momentum, meaning, of course, you must keep learning. Let me give you an example. I studied MBA marketing. And today I'm head of a corporate communications in a company where I need to oversee marketing and among other things. But the marketing that I learned and the marketing that's happening today is completely different.
Absolutely.
There was no internet. There was no social media. There was no direct, digital marketing. But today things have changed. And if I don't keep up the momentum, I must say that I recently passed digital marketing certification course from UK. And because I need to be up with what's happening today. So I just can't rest on my laurels thinking that I've done a great thing at that time when nobody did that, I did this. But if I don't know what's happening in social media and how the social media works and how various types of digital marketing today is effective, there's no use. So that's why if I have to keep momentum in my own career, I need to be updating myself. So which is why I've done this course. It was a 6-month course where I did exam and passed and got this certification. So I had to keep momentum in my course. Similarly, everybody, whoever is in whichever area they are, professionally, they need to keep up. And that momentum is necessary. Because if you are not keeping up, you are lost today. And that's for all careers and whether it's one or two.
That's actually a wonderful point in the sense momentum is not something that you get once and then leave it. You have to keep gaining it every day, especially in today's situation where things are changing. So learning something at this age and then keeping yourself abreast, that's very critical for momentum. So whoever is listening to this, whatever you are doing, you have to keep gaining momentum each day. And that's what I am picking up from this particular conversation. Thank you, sir, for that wonderful point. Now, you definitely have faced setback in your life, in your career. but still you're able to come out of it and manage things. So, what is that one thing that if you want to give as an advice or as an experience, which we can pick up something from that experience and learn, which we can apply in our life when we face setbacks? What will that be?
Well, I think, Meenakshi, the truth of life is setbacks. Whether we like it or not, you will not always get what you want. Life is very difficult. It doesn't always even throw lemons so that we can squeeze and do what we want. Life is a very, very difficult thing. And there will be crests and troughs. There will be those peaks and the depths of valleys, the mountaintops and the valleys, they say. So, the truth of the world or truth of life is that you are going to face problems and you are going to face situations or circumstances which can make you depressed or which can make you feel that all is gone. But our ability to cope with this is only when you think that life is much more than what you are experiencing at that particular moment. Life is much greater than what you're feeling at that particular moment. So sometimes, what is important is never give up. Never give up, I think, is what I would put as one single phrase that people probably can carry out of this. Yes, I experience setbacks, and I'm sure you experienced, and many others experience. But how you get out of that is what matters. And when I say get out of that, you must understand that you will not always stay low. There will be good times. And you need to keep imagining and looking forward to a greater future than what you are. And if things do not work out exactly the way you want it, well, how do I go around it? How do I circumvent what I have, what went wrong, or how do I go around it and still get what I want? I know that there are certain things that I wanted, I didn't get. But there are certain things I wanted, I got. Those two things that you started off with introduction. For instance, one of my dreams was to actually speak on the radio. And I, in fact, was so excited to speak on the radio. I went to the radio station and applied. And they said, first you must finish your graduation and come. You must minimum be a graduate. So I went back again. And then there was an audition test and all that. And then they did the training after they selected and all that. But that's one dream that I always had, and I was able to achieve it. And another was to have a newspaper column. Some long ago when I was a kid, I realized that writing thoughts were good, and that also I was able to kind of get. In fact, there have been some fantastic examples of maybe I'll share this for inspiration of some people. There was a kind of write-up in a newspaper in Deccan Chronicle in Hyderabad, when I was about 25 or 26, which I read and was horrifying because it did not say the truth in the right way. It was a major article. So I said I should write a contrast to this. And it is a religious article. And it was in the newspaper and was a main Sunday Chronicle, main write-up. I said next year, because it was a certain event, I didn't want to mention particularly, it was a certain event. And so next year when this event happens, I must write a counter to this. And I wrote a counter. And this article, with which I went to the editor of that newspaper and I said, see, this is my article. Last year, you did something wrong. That became controversial. He said, I admit it. In fact, after that, we got so many letters, so much anger because that article was difficult. So I said, this is a counter to that article. It will be much better for you. He asked me, are you a priest? I said, no. Are you a pastor? No. Did you study theology? No. Are you able to write? But why should I print your article? What makes you qualified to actually write this? I said, I've done enough research, and if you show it to anybody also, they will probably say it's good. He said, let me check this out. And after 1 week, he says, yes, we are publishing this. And he actually showed me so many articles that were there. And he said, only because of that controversial article, so many people wrote. And here there are bishops who wrote this. Why should I take yours? But somehow they decided to print mine. So I'm grateful to God, and of course I'm grateful that people saw that what I have written was worthwhile. So I'm just saying that if you have and you set mind to it, you can. And I'm telling you, I thought next year during this occasion, my article should be in the paper, and it came. And I mean, I don't know what you call it, but that's the thing. Yeah, but there have been cases where I lost. There are cases where I thought that won't work. It didn't work, but fine. Life is good.
Wonderful, sir. In fact, I pick up two main things from the entire conversation. One is truth of life is setbacks that we have to accept. Two, life is much greater than your feelings, and this is very very critical because people take their feelings so much that they think this is the end of the life. No, life is much greater than your feelings.
Yes.
Just get over it.
Yes.
That's a fantastic point, sir.
Yes.
We are almost towards the end of the conversation. I have few more questions. What do you do to keep yourself active?
Well, frankly, if you ask my wife, she'll say he's not keeping himself active because I think I need to really spend more time. In fact, she just told me that there's a new gym that opened up near our house. And she already went and talked to those people and they said it seems that if both the husband and wife join, you get a bigger discount. So she said we must. And this was just about a week ago. So we are going to start next week, hopefully. So I must keep myself active in terms of physical activity, I'm saying. But of course, I have been involved, not in a consistent way, which I think I should. I participated in a few marathon relays and stuff like that, which kept me going. But I lose that momentum in physical activity, then you'll kind of go back. But I think that continuous physical activity is needed. And especially at my age, I think it is much more needed than at different ages. And when it comes to mental, I mean, I definitely read a lot. I watch interesting documentaries. And I enjoy learning and reading and participating in events and activities where there is a lot of knowledge that can be gained. So that keeps my mind
So
alert.
reading continuously.
Oh yeah, I do.
That's one thing good. You have interviewed different people, asked different questions. If you have to interview yourself, what is that one question that you will ask yourself, and what will be the answer?
Oh, well, that's you put me in a difficult spot. What would I ask myself if that's a question? I would say, Joel, don't you think you could have lived a better life? Or if that's a question, like, would you have chosen a different path? That would be the question. And the answer to that would be, I think I'm okay. I'm glad. I mean, I think the life that God gave me or the path that I have trodden so far is a good one. And I'm happy to take it the way I want. Maybe if I had taken a better path, maybe there would be better outcomes in terms of probably things that you own or possess. Maybe it could have been greater, bigger. But no, I'm happy with what I have. I think being content, being happy with what you have, and enjoying life the way it is very important.
That's amazing advice, I would say. Yeah, being content. And yes, I think the point we always feel that maybe if you had done this, our life would have been different. Maybe if you had taken this particular route. But I think I also believe that more or less we are all placed in a particular place where we have been given the route, whatever it is. It's all for a particular reason, and it's not going to change with whatever you do. So of course you have to take effort in improving yourself. But whatever life gives to you, take it and be happy with that. So that's amazing point. Last question. You in the different roles, in terms of communication, what is that one thing that we all can learn from your experience in different roles?
If we have to talk about a common thing that we have, and especially to your viewers, Meenakshi, I think those who want to know what is it that we can learn from others' lives, many people, and including me, what is it that can keep us going? I think the important thing is understanding that life is good. And so, in order to enjoy life, we must accept some good things in life and be willing to work around. I am, for my motto in life, I have taken up the prayer called the Serenity Prayer, which is popular if you search online. And that Serenity Prayer says, God, if you've heard that famous line, it says, God, help me to change the things that I can change and accept the things that I cannot change. And importantly, give me the wisdom to know the difference. So I think if I have that wisdom, that serenity will be there. Yes, Lord. So, now you cannot change everything in life because we all think, oh, this is not working out the way I want, and they keep depressed. So, Lord, help me to change the things I can and accept the things I can't. And more importantly, the wisdom to know the difference. So when you know the difference, I think, that's my philosophy of life. And so far, that's been helping me go forward. And I hope it helps me in further days ahead.
Thank you. I think that's I'll say, a great point where we can conclude our discussion today. In fact, there are wonderful points that I have taken from your interview today, starting with clarity, which we all need in communication, in our thinking. What we have to focus and learn, continuously learning, and how to improve our personalities, especially talking to different people, keeping open mind, be contented. That's another very important aspect that you touched upon. And finally, what we can change and what we should accept, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's amazing conversation. I really enjoyed talking to you. I always enjoy talking to you.
Thank you.
We have had so many conversations on so many different matters at different point of time. And this is one conversation I really enjoyed, and I'm sure there are a lot of points that audience will definitely learn, pick up, and apply in their life. Thank you for your time, and it's one of the best 30 minutes or 35 minutes, whatever we had, and thank you for that.
No, thank you, Meenakshi, and thank you for having me on your podcast. It's great to at least think that you find me interesting, but I'm so grateful that you put me on the show, and it was great talking to you. I enjoyed really. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.